Some say Lillian Carter never left. One night, Alex, Jordan, Mia, and Sam dared each other to explore the school. As they stepped inside, the air turned cold. A soft whisper echoed through the hallway. "Help me." Mia gasped, gripping Alex's arm, but Jordan laughed it off. They found room 36, its door slightly open, the number barely visible under layers of dust. Inside, desks were overturned, and a single chair rocked back and forth. On its own, suddenly, the chalkboard screeched as invisible hands wrote, "They locked me in. Don't let them do it to you." The door slammed shut. The shadows twisted, forming the ghostly figure of Lillian, her hollow eyes glowing in the dark. "They never let me leave. Now it's your turn," she whispered. The room shook. Desks slid across the floor. The air grew thick and heavy. Alex shouted, "We'll help you." Lillian froze. The shadows retreated. The door unlocked. They ran, but as Alex turned back, Lillian stood watching them. The next morning, room 36 was gone. Just a brick wall remained. But as they walked past, a faint whisper followed them. "Thank you."
Welcome to Dark Fairy Tales 22, where horror meets reality. If you think ghosts, spirits, and the supernatural are just myths, think again. Around the world, there are places so terrifying, so haunted, that even the bravest souls refuse to enter them at night. In this video, we're diving into the chilling stories behind 4 of the most haunted places in the world. Stay with me until the end, if you dare, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more spine-tingling content. Let's begin. 1. Bhangar Fort, India. Next, we travel to India, home to one of the most haunted places in the world. Bhangar Fort in Rajasthan. Legend has it that a sorcerer fell in love with a princess here and tried to use black magic to make her his. When his plan failed, he cursed the entire town, dooming it to eternal ruin. Soon after, the entire population vanished overnight. Today, Bhangar Fort is abandoned, and the Indian government has forbidden anyone from entering after sunset. Locals claim to hear whispers, laughter, and even cries coming from the ruins. If you ever visit, remember, once darkness falls, you are not alone. 2. The Stanley Hotel, USA. If you're a fan of horror movies, you might recognize this place. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado inspired Stephen King's terrifying novel The Shining. And trust me, the real-life hauntings are just as creepy. Guests have reported hearing ghostly piano music in the middle of the night, objects moving on their own, and eerie laughter echoing through the halls. The most famous spirits here include a ghostly maid, who still tidies up rooms, and a phantom child who loves to play pranks on guests. If you ever stay at the Stanley Hotel, be prepared for an unexpected visitor in your room. 3. Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Now we venture deep into Japan's most haunted location, Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest. Located at the base of Mount Fuji, this dense, eerie woodland has an unsettling silence. Many believe it is haunted by restless spirits of those who have taken their own lives here. Hikers often report seeing ghostly figures, hearing whispers in the wind, and feeling an unexplainable sense of dread. The forest is so dense that even sound is absorbed, creating an unnatural quiet. Would you ever dare to walk through Aokigahara alone? 4. Poveglia Island, Italy. Our final stop is one of the most terrifying locations in the world. Poveglia Island in Italy. This small island was once used as a quarantine zone for plague victims in the 18th century. Later, it became an insane asylum where horrific experiments were conducted on patients. Thousands of souls are said to have perished here, and their tormented spirits still roam the land. Fishermen refuse to go near Poveglia, fearing they might pull up human bones in their nets. Visitors who have dared to step onto the island report overwhelming feelings of dread, ghostly whispers, and even violent spirits attacking them. Today, the island is completely abandoned and strictly off limits. But some say at night, you can still hear the cries of the damned echoing across the water. Welcome to Dark Fairy Tale 22, where horror meets reality. If you think ghosts, spirits, and the supernatural are just myths, think again. place is so terrifying, so haunted, that even the bravest souls refuse to enter them at night. In this video, we're diving into the chilling stories behind 5 of the most hotel room in the world. Stay with me until the end, if you dare, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more spine-tingling content. Let's begin. Vanishing guest. In 2003, a man named Gregory Mitchell checked into a historic hotel in New Orleans. He had reserved a 3-night stay, but by the morning of the second day, something strange happened. When housekeeping knocked on his door, there was no answer. Assuming he was out, they entered the room to clean, only to find it completely empty. No luggage, no clothes, no personal belongings. Even the bed looked like it had never been slept in. Confused, the staff checked the security footage. The cameras showed Gregory entering his room the night before, but never leaving. There were no records of him checking out. No calls made from his phone. Nothing. It was as if he had simply ceased to exist inside that room. Authorities were called, but no trace of him was ever found. The room was closed for investigation. But to this day, no one knows what happened to Gregory Mitchell. Some guests who've stayed in that same room report hearing whispers in the middle of the night, while others claim to have seen the figure of a man standing in the corner, watching. Bloodstained mattress. In 2010, a couple booked a weekend getaway at a small motel in Las Vegas. The price was cheap, and they didn't think much of it, until an awful stench filled their room. They complained to the front desk, but the staff dismissed it, saying, "It's probably the old carpets." But the smell grew stronger, almost sickly sweet. It was coming from the bed. Disturbed, the couple lifted the mattress, and underneath, they found something horrifying. A rotting corpse wedged inside the bed frame. The body had been there for weeks, hidden just beneath unsuspecting guests who had slept there before them. The police later discovered that a woman had been murdered in the room, and rather than disposing of the body, the killer stuffed her beneath the mattress and left. The room that doesn't exist. A businessman named Daniel Reynolds was traveling through Kentucky when he checked into an old roadside inn. It was late, and he was exhausted. The receptionist gave him a key to room 306. The room was at the end of a long hallway, and something about it felt off. The air was stale, the lights flickered, and there was an odd pressure in his ears. Like the air was too thick, but too tired to care. He locked the door and went to bed. Around 3 a.m., Daniel woke up to a knocking sound. It wasn't coming from the door, but from inside the walls. Slow, rhythmic taps echoed through the room, growing louder until they were pounding. Then, the phone rang. When he picked up, there was no voice, just deep, ragged breathing. Terrified, Daniel grabbed his bags and ran to the front desk, demanding another room. The receptionist froze and stared at him. "Sir, we don't have a room 306, she whispered. The keys in his hand vanished, and when he turned around, the hallway where room 306 had been was gone. Daniel fled the hotel that night, and when he later tried to find it again, it no longer existed on any map. Was he trapped in a different reality? Or did he briefly cross over into a place that wasn't meant to be found? 4. The hotel's final guest. There's an old legend about a hotel that no longer stands in Chicago. It was built in the early 1900s and operated for decades until a fire gutted most of the structure. The remaining portion was abandoned, left to rot. But one room remained intact. Room 409. In 1999, a group of urban explorers snuck into the condemned building, eager to see what remained. As they roamed the halls, they noticed something chilling. Room 409's door was completely untouched, unlike the others, which were blackened and charred. The brass numbers gleamed as if they had just been polished. One of them, a man named Aaron, decided to push it open. To his shock, the room inside was pristine. A perfectly clean hotel suite, untouched by time. The bed was neatly made, the furniture looked brand new, and the air smelled of fresh linen. Then, the door slammed shut. Aaron screamed, pounding to get out, but his friends couldn't hear him. They saw nothing but a burned-out husk where room 409 should have been. Aaron was never found, but sometimes, when people walk past the vacant lot where the hotel once stood, they claim to see a light flicker on, in a room that no longer exists. 5. The unwanted roommate. In 2015, a woman named Rachel stayed in a famous luxury hotel in London. It was beautiful. Expensive chandeliers, gold-plated elevators, a place of elegance and comfort. But on her first night, she felt like someone was watching her. The feeling was so intense that she barely slept. The second night was worse. The air felt ice cold, and when she glanced at the mirror, she saw something that made her blood run cold. A tall figure standing directly behind her. She spun around, but the room was empty. Panicked, she grabbed her bags and checked out early. The hotel staff didn't seem surprised. In fact, when she told them what she had seen, they nodded knowingly. Many guests report seeing him, the concierge admitted. But he never harms anyone. He just likes to watch. To this day, people still check into that same room. Some stay the whole night, but others wake up in the middle of the night to find their closet door wide open, as if someone had been standing inside. Watching them sleep, hotels should be places of relaxation, but sometimes they become the setting for our worst nightmares. If you ever stay in a hotel and something doesn't feel right, trust your instincts, because not all guests are the living. Would you dare stay in one of these haunted hotel rooms? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more terrifying tales.